Do another one or no? Actually, here, I think we can make it, we'll see what happens. We're gonna see what happens. Okay. It's 7 PM on Monday, July 16th, 2025, and I will call this regular city council meeting to order. I do want to thank everyone who's joining us this evening, and if Councilmember Hall would lead us in the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Is it? Is that mine? Sorry, we're trying to figure out where the static's coming from. Did you turn this one? It might be that one. Yeah. It's that one? It might be that one.
Okay.
Wait, let me do this one. That's right. Maybe it's me by my mic. Middle of my body or something. Number 5 all the way down. We'll see what happens. Okay, so just want to note that Councilmember Cedar is not here at this moment, but he will be here. He's just running a little bit behind. So if for some odd reason he doesn't show up, then we'll go back and excuse him from this meeting. Oh, that's not him. Okay, so, and then for staff, we have Director Madden, Interim Director Robeck, Chief Hernandez, and City Clerk Tricia Summers. Moving on to citizen participation this evening, the purpose of the public comment period at this meeting is for those wishing to address the council on any matter. It's not intended for debate and discussion with the public, and we kindly remind you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. And when you approach the podium, please make sure that you state your name and city for record. Director Madden, I'm going to pass this back down. I'm going to leave this out just because it's going to be like a... Can you pass this down? Okay. So we have 2 individuals signed up this evening. The first one is Susan Johnson.
Honest and with people and caring and showing appreciation of somebody that's in stress. So, Chief, I just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you for your comments. Next, we have Sandy and Joe. Is it Barron? Barron? Close enough. Close enough? Director Madden, would you mind lending your...
Sure.
Joseph Barone, Milton, off Court. First is commendation for the work done on Porter. It's a delightful road to go on for the most part. The negative is that circle that has been built is not going to cut it for the heavy traffic that was voted in a couple years ago. I passed by the other circle down in Pack, and I see the difficulties they have with the big trucks going through, and that one is just too small. The other is an increasing traffic problem up Milton Way from the bottom of the hill up to Porter. We seem to be having more and more racer types going up the road at very high speeds. I estimate anywhere from 50 to 60 miles an hour coming up the road. Well, I don't know what we can do about it because there's no place for an officer to pull them over. There's no room because they'd block the whole road. But maybe if it's somewhere in the budget, maybe a photo enforcement situation, catch them coming up like. And the other is traffic of big rigs trying to make that left turn up Milton Way onto Porter. I keep seeing them coming around and says they shouldn't even be there. Most almost taking the lights out. So I don't know, probably something like photo enforcement if we can afford it. But there's going to be a bad problem there. They hit one of those poles, we're going to lose power, we're going to lose light, and tie up traffic like crazy. And those are the two things I wanted to comment on tonight.
Thank you for your comments this evening. That concludes citizen participation. On to additions and is there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda? Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda, if I can get a motion to pass. Councilmember Preddy?
Agendas as presented.
Second.
Preddy and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. The consent agenda as presented. All in favor? Carried 6-0. So we have two presentations this evening. The first is from East Pierce. To the podium.
Good evening, Council. John Parkinson, Fire and Rescue. Annual update, tell you what's going on in Pierce and where we're headed over. To scroll me through. I know I've talked about this in the past, but just anybody who's new to the council or anybody in the audience familiar with East Pierce, the map on the screen shows where we cover. So that's the cities of Milton, Edgewood, Sumner, Bonnie Lake, completely encircle Lake Taps, all the Prairie Ridge communities, 1,000 residents. We serve the town of South Prairie by contract. We completely encircle and would go all the way out to the National Park. However, the Fairfax Bridge is now shut down. So, but we cover all. Slide, please. So, roughly over 100,000 residents, 153 square miles. In 2024, across the district, we ran just over 13,000 incidents. Nearly every incident emergency unit to address. So over 30,000 it's rolling down the roadways throughout the year. Next slide, please. As far as how we're governed, just like city has a council, we have a fire district elected by the residents of the district. So we have 7 fire commissioners. They're elected to 6-year terms. Budget and policy very. On the screen is just a picture of our current board. 3 of those residents do actually live up here in Edgewood at least, but represent this side of the district. We do have 3 positions which are going to be on the ballot this fall. Commissioner Warnett is stepping down. Commissioner Garling is running again, and Commissioner Evans is running again. Next slide. As far as how we're funded, we receive resources. All of our taxes are borne locally. We do not receive money from the county or from the state. So all of our funding primarily comes from 2 levies. So that's our fire levy and our EMS levy. And then separate of that, we have a bond levy, which was approved by voters. But across all 3 of those, right now, voters across the district are paying $2.09. As far as what our budget looks like and how this breaks out, in 2025, we're just shy of $49 million for our operating budget. Separate of that, we have facility budget and equipment budget. But that breaks down into 5 functional cost centers. We have an administrative cost center, logistics cost center, EMS group, as well as a health and safety group. Operations makes up our largest division. That's all of the boots on the ground. 5% of our expense every year is people. We're in the line of work that is very personnel focused. We're not easily replaced by AI just yet, so it takes boots on. So how we serve you, we currently have 198 full-time employees. The slide is slightly not accurate because this is based on the opening of a station at the start of next week. So as of next week, we'll have 8 fire stations, 7 engine companies, 1 ladder truck, 5 medic units, a battalion chief, and 1 medical services officer. Said a different way, we'll have 36 personnel on duty 24/7, 365. So as far as the stats go, and what I'm going to show you is specific to the city of Milton as I talk through stats. So understanding that the fire station in Milton does respond beyond the city limits into Edgewood or into other service areas, but just within the city of Milton, in 2024, you had 1,462 incidents within city limits that were fire and EMS. And like I said, we typically send more than 1 emergency unit on every response. So that meant over 3,200 emergency units responded throughout the city of Edgewood in 2024. So roughly 9 to 10 sirens going off per day, if you think of it that way. Out by type, and this is called NFIRS coding, so National Fire report our data federally. It breaks down into a number of different categories. There's 9 in all. Those categories don't typically have to them. And this shows, I'm going to kind of break them down into key areas because they tend to make the most sense. Number 1 is medical, so EMS, that's the green. Typically what we see, about 3/4 of our nature. In Milton, ahead of that. Some of that is just due to the volume of adult care facilities that we have. Produce a few more incidents than we see in some of the other areas. Smallest slice is typically fire. That's what we see throughout the district also. Not a tremendous volume of fire-related incidents. It's just manpower. Separate to that, then we get into you'll see it called service call, good intent, and false call. And I would lump those generally all into one category, and they're well intended, but they end up not being a significant issue for us. So a fire alarm and a business or at a call saying, I think my neighbor's house is on fire, and it ends up being a barbecue. Things like that, where they're well-intended incidents, but they end up being just a service that a single unit can handle. As far as how we look across incidents by time of day, so what you're looking at starts at midnight and ends at 11 o'clock, 24 hours later, effectively. What we see as far as incidents in the city, and pretty typical with what we see throughout the district and across the United States. Roughly 2/3 of our incidents happen during daytime hours, so while people are awake, they tend to call 911 more. After hours, once people go to bed until the next morning, we typically see about 1/3. A couple anomalies in here where we see that things kind of slow down, and then for some reason around 9 o'clock, people decide to call 911 again. But besides that, pretty normal. Then by day of the week is just what you're looking at, taking all the incidents from 2024 and spreading them across day. This one's a little bit normal. Typically what we'll see is Monday happens to be our busiest day across all call types. That's just because that becomes the first day of the week where people typically have medical system over the weekend. Medical heavy as far as our incident load hits. It usually generates a number of 911. But City of Milton last year, Wednesday and Thursday happened to be. As far as travel time goes, so this one's a pretty to take a look at. So travel time is from basically, so we get alerted by the 911 center. It takes our folks a set amount of time to get out of the vehicle, and then we're on the road. And so from the moment we put the vehicle in gear until the moment we set the brake at the scene of the emergency, that's what we refer to as travel. Basically the time the wheels are actually turning. Standard within our incorporated area, in Milton, Edgewood, Sumner, Bonnie Lake, our goal is to have that travel time be 8 minutes and 30 seconds or less at the 90th percentile. So meaning 90% of the time we're going to be faster than 8 minutes and 30 seconds. That's the worst that we would expect to perform. The city of Milton, since this is really the first good data set that we've had since putting the fire station in service and staffing it full-time. So now that we have a complete year of data to look at, we're down to 7 minutes and 38 seconds. Before that station was staffed, so if we went back a couple of years, we would. I don't have that data to compare to. I can tell you it was substantially slower than, kind of for obvious reasons. Just, but that is now our best municipal area, our fastest responses to any cities. Is at the 50th percentile, the average amount of time that it's going to take us to get. Basically, on average, we're going to get to your house in less. Just some major milestones as far as what went on within the district. Large recruit classes, as far as onboarding new firefighters and getting them deployed out on the streets. It seems to be a nonstop cycle of bringing on. This year happens to be the first year where we only of new employees, so nice for us, gives us a little bit of relief. Opening new stations. So our new headquarters in Bonnie Lake opened back in February. Station on Westlake Taps should open tomorrow. And then our 8th, really our newest station, a place that we haven't had a station before, in Tahali, Station 117, is open up on Monday of next week. Outside of that, clean audit from the state auditor's office for our financials from 2023. We always make sure to point that out, that we are proud that we're good stewards of the. We broke ground on our 5th fire station construction project in Prairie Ridge. So that broke ground about 3 months ago. All the dirt right now, and they're starting foundation work about this month. We've also acquired a lease that I'll talk about later, and also doing some work on a training center, which I'll talk about later. We did a major overhaul of our strategic plan. So we wrapped up our 5-year strategic plan a year early. So we did a significant update and have a new 5-year plan in place now. And we successfully bargained 2 collective bargaining agreements and that covers roughly 170 employees. So looking forward, so where are we headed in the next basically 12 months, 6 to 12 months? So first and foremost, so most of you are aware that we own land that we bought. Looking at is an overhead view of the parcels that we own. Just kind of, you're looking at Milway to the top of the screen there, off to the upper right would be the restaurant. And my squiggly line, so I did not graduate art class, so pardon my rendering there. But the solid line represents the land that we own. There's a hashed out lot in the lower right corner. We had approached that homeowner over the last few months. We did enter into a purchase and sale agreement that closed on Friday. So as of just so what we own now is that complete area, and we needed that so that we could fit the right size station onto that lot. So next slide. What our goal to build on the site, the picture that you're looking at is the station that's open tomorrow on Westlake Taps. That's also the design that we're building in Prairie. Our goal is to take that same prototype and put it on that parcel that was on the last slide there. That is a station that has 3 garage bays, so we can house multiple emergency vehicles. It's got 6 dorm rooms, so it can house numerous staff on duty 24/7. One of the things that we try to shoot for, public tax dollar, by reusing that same design. So 1, we like the design, it works really well. Number 2, the architecture and engineering of the building itself, if we can reuse it, saves somewhere around $500,000 just in design. We still have to pay for all the civil work on site. There's still permitting, there's all that process. There's still the cost of the station itself, but not having to pay somebody to redraw us the fire station and do all the engineering for that building saves a substantial amount of money as well as time. So we have started that pre-application process with the city, and so our goal is to get that project moved as possible. And then kind of what's next at on screen, on the left side of the screen is a picture of Foothills Elementary. That's an overhead shot. To the north of that school, there's 7 acres of just vacant land. We're working with the school district to acquire 5 acres there. We've got a fire station that also borders that property, and so we're trying to acquire that land to build a training center that we don't currently have one. So that's moving along. Over to the right, if you've been out 410 towards Buckley at any point in the last few, there's a roundabout now in the middle of 410. Off to the side of that roundabout, there's a 200,000 square foot warehouse. That's the first of 5, so they're supposed to put 1 million square feet of warehouse space out there. But we were in need of a logistics center to house vehicle maintenance as well as supplies and support services. So we have leased the tail end of that building, so the green circle space that is being improved right now, and we expect to move in. Slide. As always, keep tabs on us. Our newsletter coming out here shortly. Also, all the social media platforms, as well as you'll see Pulse Point there at the bottom if you want to track what's going on. That's a live feed to all the incidents throughout the district, as well as tons of information on our website. As always, that's my contact information. You can get a hold of me whenever. Now that we have the Public Safety Committee, I do regularly attend that, based with a few council. Any questions? I'm happy to answer.
Councilmember Whalen?
Yes.
Presentation. Can you go back to the slide that shows the overhead? City of Milton.
That one.
Yet to be.
So that's the one that we just closed on. The rest of what you see there, we already owned. We've owned for roughly 5 years. The one that was crossed out, we did not own, but we wanted to acquire, so we approached them, and we just closed on that parcel on Friday. Yeah, we approached them about 3 months ago. So.
And the major exit entry to this fire station will be on a.
Correct. And we'll have to work, obviously, through not to work on traffic impacts of emptying out on the Milton Way there.
I know this is a little bit hard.
So let me answer it this way. If we said, if there's always the how long does permitting take? And so we were that we had shovels in the ground January 1st. I would expect that 18 months later, at the longest, we would be operating out of that station. So if we said January 1st of 2026, we were breaking ground, that I would expect us to be there quarter of 27 that we were operating out of that building. So we're usually around 15 months on this size of facility.
Very well anticipated.
Excited, so.
Thank you for that little.
Any other questions from council? Councilmember Hall?
Fully funded at this point,
The station, yes.
stations
Yes.
and everything is fully. One more question. I appreciate the public education. Do you have any contacts as far as somebody comes up working for them or it's not a good fit? Is there education for them to get?
Yeah, so if they contact us at our headquarters, number one, we can see if it fits, right? We do have people who are certified to install car seats. And if not, we can help them find one. If there's a financial challenge there, we can connect them with the right group to be able to fund that, so.
I run into 2 residents here in the last few not have car seats or one, well, if it even really qualifies as a car seat. So
Questions? All right. Well, Chief, thank you for your
you.
time this evening.
Thank you for having me.
thank you.
Our second presentation this evening is WashDOT. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Director Madden to open up that discussion. And while he's switching over his PowerPoint, if you are here for the public hearing, I know a couple of you walked in late, at the desk over there.
council members. My name is Dwayne Matlock, and I'm the Deputy Administrator. And tonight, with me is Mr. Tom Slimak, PE, the SR 167 project 67 corridor. We'll go through the funding and the delivery strategy for the Gateway program and the updates. And then Tom will talk a little bit more specific about the projects along the 167 corridor. So if you see the chart up here, we have 7 projects in 2 corridors. 9 corridor, there's King County, SeaTac Airport, and then 4 projects here in Pierce County with along the 167 corridor. You can see that our stage 1 projects are all complete and open to traffic. Projects are under construction right now, have been for the past year. Our stage 2 project on 509 is under construction now as well, and it began early this year. And our stage 2A project, which is there near Meridian in Puyallup, just began construction here the last couple of months. Leaves the stage 2B project, which takes us from Meridian Avenue and Puyallup out to the I-5 connection. And that one is under procurement right now. We selected a design build team to finish the design, construct it. And we expect to execute that contract here next month. Fully under construction by the in part of next month. This is our funding picture for made up of state, local, federal, and toll funding. As most of you probably know, we had a funding this last legislative session. The legislation fully funded our program with federal, state, and tolling funds. Fully funded to our 2.8 to complete our program. Tolling is part of our infrastructure on both our 509 corridors. We have a long history of analysis and updates going back to 2010 to present. Slide, please. The tolling infrastructure on 509, you can see there that is 99. We have 2 toll points on the 167 corridor, east side, and one on the west side of I-5. The tolling points on 67, the tolling point on the west side is due to open up in late 2026, come live. And the toll point west or east of I-5 come online the end of 2029. So here the Transportation Commission provided opportunities to the public to learn about the options that you see here, tolling options, provided it through venue, virtual meetings, as well as their website and email address. Transportation Commission is due to meet tomorrow, actually, to accept these tolling rates. The tolling, along with the rates. At the tolling rates themselves, the 509, and the cost, the base cost by time of day and hour of traffic. So on the 509, it'll vary between $1 and $2.40. The 167 I-5 between Puyallup and I-5, it'll be $1.20 to $2. I-5 will be a $1 toll, a fixed rate. There'll also be an escalation applied to these base toll rates after the year 2031 of 2.15% on an annual basis. There'll also be a truck axle multiplier for trucks with 3 axles or more, above and beyond the base rate. Also be a low income provider that will apply to all income users of the facility. That'll be a statewide program, not necessarily specific to 509 or 167, but it'll be a statewide program. And that'll come online end of 2026. That's it for the program updates. Is there any questions?
What's your definition of truck? What
So,
axles, but what's the definition of a truck under that?
well, they count it by axles.
So, but
As they go across the indicator, if there's more than 3, we charged an additional fee above and beyond the base rate.
is, any other kind of truck, right?
Right. The intent is,
Does that include trailers or is,
it's a good question. Per axle then, so yeah, it'd include trucks and trailers.
Councilmember Hall?
Can you speak to the trail that's being constructed?
I certainly can.
Tom will be up here and speak more specifically to all the projects along the corridor. But if there's questions at the end, we'll be glad to answer. All right, Tom.
All right. Hey. Good evening, everybody. Council, thank you for having us. Again, my name is Tom Slimak. I'm the construction project engineer Fife office, and I'm responsible for all the construction that you see out there for 167. So this exhibit here, I like to call our line diagram exhibit. It basically illustrates the full 6 miles of improvements from Puyallup clear over to the Port of Tacoma. So under construction right now is our Stage 1B project, which builds the new expressway from I-5 over to the Port of Tacoma. It's about 2 miles. Are rapidly getting close to up to revenue service. So we've got about a year left. Next September, we'll hit substantial completion, and that'll be open to traffic. As Dwayne mentioned, jumping out to the far east end, so the magenta, what we call our Stage 2A project, we're basically rebuilding the interchange there where 167 currently terminates at 161. If you guys are familiar with the old steel truss bridge that's sitting there, that's right where we're working, and I've got up here of that. So as Dwayne mentioned, we just got underway with construction on that project. That'll be open to traffic in the fall of 2027. And then as Dwayne mentioned, the last piece is what we call our Stage 2B project, coming through the valley, basically connecting the 2 ends. So we're not quite underway on that contract, as Dwayne mentioned, contract in July, and then looking to be done in 2029, opening that one up. So staying out on our Stage 1B project, this is at the far west end. This picture here, this is right near the Port of Tacoma. That's 509 that you see there in the picture. What you see there is a new, basically, ramp that's going to carry southbound 167, new 167, to tie into 509 right down here near Alexander Avenue. So we, into last year, we set the bridge girders there, what you see in the picture. Ended up shifting northbound, which is the traffic that's going under that bridge right now, which opens up the span to the left of that image, where we can finish that work and build that build that new bridge. So we're looking to complete that here this summer, get that span done so that we can complete that ramp. And it's a little deceiving when you look at 167, this stage of construction, we've got some 20 bridges that we've got to build between highway bridges and water crossings. And we're looking to get done here by the end of it's our target.
You're not seeing something. I think
am I
there's
okay?
a moth flying above you.
Staying at the west end of this current project, Stage 1B, this is our Alexander Avenue intersection. Those familiar, the picture on the left shows the current split intersection. The rendering on the right is what it's going to eventually look like. And if you can imagine, we're going to take that split intersection and actually combine it into a more centralized intersection that's more typical. So that space in between that you see is going to go away. But that necessitates a few new bridges over what's Wapato Creek right down there. And that's starting up. We're going to build some new bridges over that to carry southbound 509 over this location, as well as some of our trail improvements. Our left-hand side of the future rendering there, we've got trail improvements that connect down to Alexander Avenue, and I'll talk more about that here in a few slides. Working our way to the east on 167. This is our new interchange in the city of Fife. It's 54th Avenue. It's going to be a roundabout that's going to be constructed there. This picture was here taken from this past month in May, aerial photography of that. So right now we've just finished up the southbound portion of this roundabout. As you can see here in the picture, we're working on getting the northbound half done, if you will. Our goal here this summer is to complete the roundabout where we'll have traffic going northbound, southbound, basically just going through the roundabout. And then there'll be ramps, what I call to and from the east, or to the right of this graphic, where people at 54th can get on the new expressway, or they can get off the new expressway here at 54th. So that configuration of traffic on 54th going through the roundabout will be there for about a year, like I said before, until we open up the new expressway next September. Next slide. Whole lot of work here going on at I-5. This is just an aerial image there of the Fife curve. So we did some full closures here this past year of I-5. That big gray rectangle that you see kind of right there in the center of that is the new diverging diamond bridge that's going to go over I-5. So second longest precast concrete girders ever erected. Girders are about 223 feet long, weigh about 270,000 pounds apiece, and there's 15 of them. And I did some quick math. If we laid them end to end from this building, I think we could walk on them to the elementary or the middle school up the hill here. So factoid there. So we demolished the old 70th. We're continuing to build out the new interchange throughout this year. We did set some new bridge girders over Wapato Way. That's to ramps, what I call to and from the south to I-5. That's where those ramps will be connect to. Those won't be operational though until our stage 2B contract gets opened up. So lots of work happening. 167, as I mentioned, our bridges we're looking to get done this year, and then we're looking to finish out our paving actually this year as well as we get ready to open up this next year. On the environmental side, lots of work happening with our riparian restoration program as part of 167. So just a quick refresh on that. It's a multifaceted approach to stormwater management for the project. So it handles flow control as part of this, but also does a tremendous amount of wet stream enhancement. We restore the creek channel basically to what it should have been before kind of the built environment came about and altered it. So it's about 150 acres in total, about 20,000 linear feet of new creek channel that we're going to either rehabilitate or build new. So the graphic on the right is a rendering of those geometric shapes of the different areas where we're doing this work. So this year we have a big uplift in the Surprise Lake tributary, as well as just east of I-5 in what we call to build that out. Part of that includes a new box culvert on Juniper Street within the city of Milton that will be building as part of that to carry creek flows into this RRP area. Zooming out, So this is our stage 2A, so the magenta that we saw in that line diagram exhibit of building that new interchange there in Puyallup. So the Puyallup River, you can see there in the graphic, those familiar with the area just off the page is the Fred Meyer, and then to the north of the graphic is Valley Avenue. So this is what the interchange is going to look like. Diamond interchange. We're going to build the interchange essentially in its entirety, but you can see on the left-hand side of there, the west end of it will be not open to traffic because that connects to that green piece that will happen until 2029 is when that will open. So not as many bridges on this project. So we're building 2 new bridges, mainline bridges. One you can see in that exhibit where the new diverging diamond and 167 go over Meridian. And then the other is on Milwaukee Avenue where we're going to take mainline 167. And if you're familiar with that area, there's lots of median space between northbound and southbound 167. That's where we're going to build new mainline to continue over Meridian here and further west to I-5 and to the port. So Spoilage Pops Trail, we're constructing a piece of that from Meridian over to the rec center. We've got there's a little note there, kind of hard to see in the exhibit, but it follows kind of the south side of our roadway. We'll demolish the old steel truss bridge, but as part of our trail improvements, there's going to be an actual remnant salvaged out of that. So one end of the bridge is actually going to get repurposed. It's going to come next to the trail, close to the interchange here. It's going to have some historical context markers to it to what that bridge used to be. And we just can't use the whole thing on the project. And then lastly there, we do have some local improvements for Puyallup on Stewart that we'll be doing. So this is a picture of actually what it looks like here from a month ago. The picture, steel truss bridge there on the right-hand side. So just getting underway, all of our project signing and what we call silt fence or our BMPs to prevent stormwater runoff. That's going up. Lots of clearing you can see here that's happening. Our goal from our contractor is they want to build the new expressway as much as they can from Meridian Interchange west, in this image looking out to the background there, to the Puyallup Recreation Center. So all of that mass excavation work that we're doing that you see in this image is what we're looking to do. The one thing to note on this last bullet point here is to build that new diverging diamond over Meridian, our contractor is going to build a temporary alignment to shift all of Meridian to the east. And that's basically between the river and Valley Avenue. And that allows us to make that work zone to build that bridge, the abutments, the earthwork that goes with that. So they're working on that. We're looking to do that shift. Our target is before the Puyallup Fair, is to get that shift in. And then they could be in that configuration of up to a year while we build that new bridge. So just wanted to mention that for the group. Okay, just real quick here. We touched on a lot of this, our stage 2B contract. So there we listed out our highest scoring proposer. It's Kramer Scarcella joint venture. It's called a progressive design build contract. Just a little nuance in the delivery method with this. In that 2 phases, as you see there, there's a phase 1, which is a design validation process. That's going to take us through calendar year 2025 here into early 26. And then we'll start the final design and construction of that in early 26 and then opening, as we said, in the fall of 2029 for that contract. Trail improvements, the Spoilage Pops Trail. So this graphic here shows the grand context of all that are happening. Not all of these are washed out projects, just want to note. The ones that we're the red that you see connecting from Puyallup west over to I-5 and I-5 over to the port. So quite the construction of trail improvements that basically go along with each of construction. Project has a good portion of trails that we are building. The rendering that you see here is one of the locations. This particular one is right near Freeman Road Valley, where we have the trail that's going to cross. There we have lots of artwork that's being incorporated with tribal context as part of it. So that work is underway, and those segments will be opened up as the associated projects open in segments. Lastly here, just wanted to talk about how we're engaging the communities that we're building projects in. For that Magenta project, the Stage 2A, we do have an online open house that's out there right now for the public to provide comment and feedback on. That went live here this month, and then you can see it's open through August 9th. Every year we get out into the communities and we attend fairs and festivals. Here this weekend, we attended the Puyallup Meeker Days. We will be in Milton in August for Milton Days. We're usually here every summer with a booth that the public can come ask us questions about where we're at with the construction of the Gateway program and 167. And I think here, next step, so as noted, continued construction of our construction contracts that we have for 167. We're on time and on budget for all of those to open up as planned, so that is fantastic. There is the note here for the ongoing conversations with the trail partners regarding of where that falls, of who's going to take what maintenance responsibility for what segments. So that still needs to be finalized. And then as noted, starting that last stage of construction, 67. And that's what I had. I'll open it up to questions.
Rahal, did you want to re-ask your question?
Way and
On the inner urban,
you can answer those questions.
I can answer. Yeah,
But I walk that every day. So I have questions and see some. On that bridge, that walkway bridge. Outside of the bridge by going over it, over the, it. I don't know if there's some barrier you can there because the water's not deep enough.
yeah.
And there was a lot of this last. And address that and clean up. Kind of gave away because of.
So answer your question. So first on thank you for the trail, the comment on the trail improvements that we're making. We are looking, many segments of the trail is going to follow a lot of the repair and restoration that we had. So it's kind of this, so it's a nice area to walk adjacent to. It's going to be a wetland area. So that was done in part a little bit by design, have that. All of our bridges that we have what's called fall protection on that. So it's designed for this purpose, for in case there's pedestrians on that bridge, that there's set standards, minimizing the chance of folks accidentally falling off the bridge. I'm not sure in this instance how folks were trying to get around the bridge or around some of that fall protection.
Very tall, but side.
Coming down the slope and
Side.
okay.
It's being silly. Yeah. Barrier you could put up so they can't. On the outside.
Okay. And then you also noted some of the asphalt spot. So we will be going through on a number of these locations up a lot of these areas. We've already noted areas that need to be cleaned up. So yeah, I will touch it. You did mention flooding. So it's, I do want to note that the repair and restoration program itself, I mentioned it's multifaceted. One of the benefits of it is actually lower the base elevation in this greater area by about 2 feet. The RRPs basically designed in part to put flooding where it's supposed to be instead of on our infrastructure, on our roadways, on the local network, put it into natural areas where it can do benefit. So that is one of the benefits we have out of this environmental uplift that we're doing.
Still working on it because they had a machine pretty much.
Oh, we are still working on, yeah, so it's still under construction and good, fair note, the kind of north of the inner urban, we've been watching that for years. It always fills up with water. And until we actually get this thing built out, which summer, we're going to build that portion of it. battling the water in that area.
Probably the last way is, and then it's
The new,
looks like
the
they're
new,
building ramp to go on.
is correct.
So that is very tall. Off of that and getting down into the trail.
Yeah, so each one of those areas, we look at each one specifically where there's barrier or guardrail or other devices. Yeah, it's not going to be everywhere. I don't want to say that the whole thing lined with barrier the entire way. There's design considerations to make in that one, two, the barrier itself is also a roadside hazard. You're putting an object there, right? But we do look at each of these locations and whether barrier is warranted or guardrail for those segments. There's a number of factors that go into it, but we do take that under consideration and place that that chance.
I was down there yesterday, 45 steps from the edge of that on to the new.
So that elevated, roadway will take traffic from Puyallup when we're all done, and you can get on to northbound I-5. Coming from Fife, you can go to northbound I-5. So that's that big ramp that you saw.
Which I figured for me is 1,300 feet. I literally, somebody's doing 35.
Yeah, and we take all of this into consideration as we lay out those.
I'm sorry. Noise. Right now, it's so loud that you can't on the trail. It's so loud. Barriers. It's going to go.
There's not as part of 167. So when we did our environmental impact statement and subsequent NEPA and SEPA evaluations, part of that is always, and there's an analysis done for feasible and feasibleness of walls and the criteria for it. Nowhere in the corridor did we meet the thresholds for noise walls. Part, I think the location where you're at, the background is so high that what we do there doesn't hit the triggers for do any sort of noise barriers in noise walls in that location. That being said, I will note, so the one thing that's kind of devoid right now is all of our roadside restoration planting. So the slopes are going to get planted. There's going to be, it's not going to be like you see it today. There will eventually be vegetation growing. So some natural barriers could come up, but no noise walls specific.
I appreciate all the planning I've seen. That is backbreaking. Hundreds and hundreds of plans.
I failed to mention my statistic, which my team is probably going to get mad at me. So we're north of that, those areas that you saw of all the environmental areas, we're north of 400,000 plants that need to go in to establish these areas of various species that are native to this area, mixture of shrubs, other plants that are to reestablish the habitat that honestly should have had. So that's pretty rewarding for us to be able to do this, to do a transportation project like this and do such an environmental uplift alongside of it. It's a win-win.
All the work you've done.
Councilmember Cedar?
That's me. Sorry, I was a little late for your presentation, but thanks for being here. I'm curious about traffic flow during the construction during the next few years. So as Valley Avenue and the 167, where it comes off and then jumps over to Valley Ave, as that's building the Diamond Interchange, should we anticipate or are you aware of any traffic flows that are going to be coming over the North Hill, more pressure on 99, more pressure on 160?
Is there going to be more pressure on 161 as a result of the DDI? Maybe not. Don't know for sure. We're not going to send people into communities. So as part of our detour routes and traffic control, We're very deliberate where traffic goes. And in fact, I can tell you, council member, we've had conversations recently with our contractor out there about routes when they're doing different roadway closures of where that's going. We want them to stay on our highway system and not go to the local street network unless we really have no other option. In that case, if that were the circumstance, we would be engaging the local jurisdictions on that. What that looks like, what can we anticipate, how long is that going to be? Is there any improvements we need to make to support such a detour? So right now, we're trying to use that as a that happens, that
Broadening my question out a bit then, what I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, I hear you saying that at this time, WashDOT anticipates no increased stress on Milton's roads.
I can't say that people won't figure out different ways around. I guess is another way to say, as we're building the improvements, is our folks going to try to find other ways around? Our intent is to keep them where they are, right? So the shoe fly that I mentioned, or the temporary detour, that is all lanes that we're going to construct. So it's not, we're not reducing lanes on Meridian there, 161. Part for we don't want to reduce capacity. So this allows us to shift traffic, build the new improvement without having to put undue stresses on.
Not to belabor the point, but I just trying to understand if there is, I mean, is this analysis done? Like if close a portion of, I don't know, 99 in order to finish some segment, is the analysis done about impact to local roads?
So we do analyses when we do, for example, full closures to do roadway improvements. Those requirements go into our contracts. So in part of that, we put times of day, and usually that's in the overnight hours. Some of these road closures, we have to find that balance to where how heavy is traffic going to be based on analysis. And so we restrict our contractors to specific times of day or night to do those, to minimize the impact on the local as best we can. I can't say I'm going to eliminate it, and I know it's sticky.
I hear you, and I'm not trying to be rude. I heard you say yes. So at any point, has there been an analysis where you know that Milton is going to be impacted anyway? Sitting right there, just is there any impact that we can expect from what you know, like objectively?
I can't, so I don't know for certain on the numbers off the top of my head. I can't sit here and recite the traffic numbers that I'd have to go look at that and get back to you.
No, I appreciate that. And the reason I ask is so far I've heard there's not going to be any noise mitigation that's going to help Milton. Path is not beautiful right now. I get it. It's going to get there. I will be surprised if we don't see more cut through traffic as a result of this. So I was trying to get some kind of read on that. I want to know what happens to Milton as a result of this project that doesn't directly benefit us in any way. I don't hear a lot of benefit for it, so I'm just trying to figure out what my position is on it.
Understandable.
You can probably hear it.
Let me, so when we're all said and done, so 167, right, it doesn't exist today, meaning the new expressway from Puyallup over to I-5. It's not, it goes river, right? It's not a limited access facility. As Dwayne mentioned, this is going to be a tolled facility. It's brand new. So the way I like to couch it is we're setting those toll rates to get the right amount of attraction to the facility. Every car that we can get that uses the expressway is going to improve the commutes in the local jurisdiction because we've intercepted some of that traffic. Freight's now not on the local street network. We've got commuters that need to get from, Tacoma to maybe East Pierce County. They have the opportunity to use the new expressway. So what our modeling does show is for that traffic that we do attract to the new expressway, we do improve trip times on the local street network. I can't pinpoint every single movement, but as a whole, we see improvements to the local street network. And it's for that reason, because we're attracting trips to the new expressway.
Do you think there's going to be induced demand on 161 or 99 as a result of increased capacity on the new 167?
There's going to be an attraction probably to the facilities. As we have those new interchanges, we want folks to get onto the new expressway at those locations. And when we do our design and when we do our analyses, we take those into consideration. Just don't look at existing year traffic demands, we look at traffic volumes, and we project that in our models to make sure that current year, design years, and horizon years, that our improvements that we make can sustain that volume that's coming to those locations.
This last question then. What is WashDOT's vision for 161, as in, do they envision expanding that to a larger roadway to support this network?
Our improvements right now just are right there between Valley Avenue, 161, between Valley Avenue and the Puyallup River. I can't speak to plans of anything beyond that. I don't have that information, council member. Yep.
Just that we are working with the local that back if that's something that they're doing. Something that we're working on a statewide turn back, that makes sense to turn that.
What do you mean turn back?
Turn back the river right now is a state facility, right? So we're working with the city of Puyallup and Pierce County to see if they're interested in taking on that as a local road, state highway. And they would improve that facility as a local road, whatever fits their needs best. More so probably rather than highway use, but it would be a function and look like a local road. Not saying that that's going to happen, but it's something that's in the works, and we're that's our long-term vision.
Appreciate both you gentlemen being whole team.
Thank you. In regards to trying to deal with, human behavior, so is there any research on percentage of people who will avoid the toll roads? I know you're saying you're trying to drive people onto them, wreck them, but anything with people who want to avoid that? Trying to go to surface roads.
Thought that through. All the local roads that develop and the Port of Tacoma now will still function the way they function. So all of the same accesses that you have right now, none of those will be altered in any way. This facility adds capacity to that system. So we don't expect traffic. We're expecting to try to attract as much traffic as possible.
Because there are probably going to be some tractor.
We're going to take it from Port of Tacoma Road.
And that's the worst thing to have on your surface streets, to the tractor.
We're going to try to attract those, hopefully with lower toll rates and faster trip times, rather than taking, Port of Tacoma Road or 54th right now, which is pretty congested with trucks.
Right.
If we can get those onto this facility, that frees up those areas.
And maybe it's been said in the past, how long will these tolls go? Will it go? How many?
In perpetuity, yeah. In perpetuity. Roads that you're taking right now, the locals are, they can continue to use those if that's their choice. If they see an advantage to taking the new facility and paying the toll for a faster trip time at times, they have that option as well.
Councilmember Strader?
With, say, Google Maps, and when you start this project, have you negotiated with them about how to maybe traffic using them as a guide for drivers in, destination, and they would be willing to?
I can't answer that for sure.
So at the time, you haven't looked at that?
information that goes out of our comms, like the Google Maps and the Waze stuff, decided closure information broadcasted. I have not specifically talked to Google folks on help us navigate those closures.
Thank you. One other question. Talked about the toll, people trying to avoid 99 tunnel. They saw that as an issue. People did not use it after it was opened. Are they still, are the revenue that they're pay for that?
I know they're generating more revenue than when they first opened up. There was diversion traffic that now have attracted more. The situation there is a little bit different, where they took away the viaduct and replaced it with the tunnel, whereas this facility is to the existing system. So it's not like we're taking an access away and replacing it with something we're just adding to the system.
Any other questions from council? I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you at Milton Days. Next item before council is a public hearing for the 2026 to 2031 six-year transportation improvement program. I'm going to turn the floor over to Director Madden for, you want to go first or no? Usually, why don't we have you just do a brief overview, and then once Director Madden does a brief overview, then we will open up the public hearing.
All right. Thank you, Mayor, Council. Before you tonight is the six-year TIP for 2026 to 2031. We reviewed this at last month's study session where we went project by project. We appreciated Council's feedback on those efforts, and a few changes were made to this final version that is before you tonight. Some comments were made about cut-through traffic and 10th Avenue. Did I lose my mic? Okay. How people are right below City Hall here using these cut-through streets to avoid Meridian. And that was assessed, and rather than start a new project, we will handle that through project 1.15, citywide traffic calming. We added a project, 1.18, which is the 28th sidewalk extension. So that will be on that first section of your project list, project 1.18. That will bring sidewalk from where the interurban trail is currently connected to 28th. It'll take that section of sidewalk along 28th up to Alder Ridge. It was, and then the last change was removal of 4.2. It's a project that had been on our books for quite some time. It was West Milton Nature Preserve. That project has been taken off of our TIP at this time. Otherwise, I would open it up for comment, or?
I'll open up the public hearing. So I'm going to open up the public hearing at 8:09 p.m. to take public comment on the 2026 to 2031 six-year transportation improvement program. When I call your name, just make sure you come up to the podium and state your name and city for the record, and remind you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. Joseph, did you want to speak on this one, or were you just signing in? Just signing in, okay. Daniel, were you wanting to speak on this one, or are you just here for your appointment? Okay. Well then, seeing that I've gone through the list here, we have received all comments, and I will close the public hearing at 8:09 p.m. Council, so this agenda item is on page, oh, I don't have page numbers on. I'm gonna find it. Page 17. of your packet. It is for the, again, 2026 to 2031 six-year transportation improvement program. And I will take a motion to open up the floor. Councilmember Cedar?
I move to approve Resolution 25-1988, adopting the 2026 to 2031 six-year Transportation Improvement Program, TIP.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Councilmember Peretti to approve Resolution 25-1988, adopting 2026 to 2031 six-year transportation improvement program. Councilmember Cedar, did you want to speak to your motion?
Yeah, just briefly, just want to thank Director Madden for the work that's gone into this and really everyone that's here. We've had a really good commitment to sidewalks and traffic calming in the city, and I think it's been a great effort by everybody to keep that going. So just want to say proud of what we have kind of envisioned. Even if we can't hit every milestone, we can at least shoot for what's here. Thanks.
Councilmember Peretti?
Yeah, I concur with comments there aforementioned in there. I'm also glad to see that when we're looking at that project on 28th Street with the sidewalk improvements, that we're not looking to needed grant dollars for that too. So it's something that's in the budget, which I think we need to pinpoint on that also. Is that sidewalk then continuing up the east side of 28th?
Yes, it will go on the east side, close to Alder Ridge.
Right, because we have one developed house going in. I think they're going to do frontage improvements along
Correct.
there already,
Yep.
so taking part of that section out. All right, that's about it. Thank you.
Comments from council? Councilmember Whalen?
The presentation we had last meeting and so forth, and the small things that you mentioned on this is still very clear, so thank you.
Mayor Potem?
Thank you. Yeah, I would like to ditto that, as well as I appreciate the work that's gone into this. And it's admittedly quite an extensive list, but it's a start. And I'm especially with 23rd that, no grants money had needed for that. So that's fantastic. But I like what's here. I appreciate the discussion that we had last Wednesday concerning this.
Any other comments or questions from council? It's been moved by Councilmember Cedar and seconded by Councilmember Peretti to approve Resolution 25-1988, adopting the 2026 to 2031 six-year transportation improvement program. Favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 7-0. And I should just note quickly for the record that Councilmember Cedar has joined us, too, in case you didn't notice. Next on the agenda is the appointment to the Fireworks Pro and Con Writing Committees. It's found on page 33 of your packet. Council, as I'm sure you remember, back in February, you adopted Resolution 25-1985, requesting that we place in an advisory measure for fireworks on the Pierce and King County ballot. A next step in this is seeking out volunteers in our community, part of the Pro and Con Committee. As you remember, or you're aware that we've had to extend that deadline quite a few times, but we finally got enough volunteers. So you are able to appoint up to 3 volunteers for each committee. All residents must reside in the city, and each committee is responsible for submitting a statement by the designated deadline and may seek input from others as needed. So for the Pro, we had resident Christy Cedar submit her name. And for the Con committee, we have Ronald Berger. Is it Berger? Is he here? No, he's not here. Okay. Bruce White and Daniel Hall. So you can either appoint all the names as submitted, or you can choose to not. It's your choice. So I put 2 motions on the agenda. I can invite each person if they'd like to just briefly introduce themselves. Why don't we start with Councilmember White, since we already he is.
Yes, my name is Bruce White. Very nice to meet you all. I appreciate the have, as you probably know, have been out in the community for several months. I've knocked on so far. And to the committee, and I would appreciate being.
Thank you. Mr. Hall, did you want to introduce yourself? Okay, awesome. If you just come up to the podium, because, oh, thank you, Justin.
Get my steps in.
Hi, my name is Dan Hall. I've been a resident of Milton for 33 years. And I'm on the, actually, the way we ask this question is going to be important to our community. We don't say pros or cons. We say consideration for and consideration against. So how we present that is going to be very, very important. Also, getting facts and data on what we have to, I mean, to change laws without facts and data, it doesn't do any good for the analyst by trade. So I look at facts, I look at data, and again, making laws without proper data to understand what we're doing is foolish. Making changes based on opinions, we need the facts and data. My intent is hopefully we get the facts and data so we can write a proper statement. Again, I'm against, so I really want to have that data available to us so we're rock solid in what we're looking at. That's what I have. Thank you.
So Ronald doesn't, there's no Ronald here, right? No. Okay. Christy Cedar, did you want to come up?
I'm Christy Cedar. I've lived in Milton for 53 years, I think, since I was a mere child. And I offered to be on the committee to speak for the restriction of fireworks. And I will solicit some information, of course, and do my best to provide a reasonable, however it turns out. I appreciate that we have both opinions. I'm not sure exactly why this becomes a vote of the people, but I'm willing to try. Thank you.
Thank you. Would like to make a motion?
I'll do it.
Peretti?
I move to authorize the mayor to appoint Christy Cedar to the Pro Committee and Ronald Berger, Bruce White, and Daniel Hull to the Con Committee.
It's been moved by Councilmember Peretti and seconded by Councilmember Cedar to authorize the mayor to appoint Christy Cedar to the Pro Committee and Ronald Berger, Bruce White, and Daniel Hull to the Con Committee. Councilmember Peretti, did you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you. I really appreciate the individuals coming forward and volunteering for and to work forward. I think it's an important issue for the city. It's something that we've been dealing with quite a few years. And for me, I want it to come to rest. Do our citizens want this or do they not want this? And let that move forward that way.
Councilmember Cedar, do you want to speak to your second?
I want to say thanks to volunteers. Appreciate it.
Any other questions? Councilmember Whalen?
Curiosity is just that we do have the four names, the pro-con. Is this open to somebody else to eventually join the pro or the con, or is it limited, or do we close it at have on?
If you prove this tonight, the Con Committee will be full. There will be no change in that. We plan on submitting this, if approved, the election centers this week or next week. So unless someone came forward, but I mean, we've had it on our website for a few months, and we just want to move forward so that we can make sure we meet all the deadlines that are required. So I guess the answer would be, if it's approved, it stands as the motion, yes.
The four individual pro-con numbers remain the same.
Yes.
Nobody else.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments, questions, concerns? Okay, it is an action item. Are there any comments from the audience? Okay. It has been moved by Councilmember Peretti and seconded by Councilmember Cedar to authorize the mayor to appoint Christy Cedar to the Pro Committee and Ronald Berger, Bruce White, and Daniel Hall to the Con Committee. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 7-0. I will reach out to each of the committee members with next steps within the next week or so. Thank you. Council, moving on to our item. Actually, the next two items are very similar, but the next one is on page 39 of your packet. It is ordinance 2114-25 for the EZI Fiber franchise agreement. I'm going to turn the floor over to Director Madden, and then following his review, I'll need a motion to open up the floor.
Mayor, Council, this item before you tonight was reviewed last Monday during our June 9th study session, and we have determined, legal has reviewed these potential franchise agreements. EZ Fiber has met all of their requirements through the application through code 12.05.070, and the staff's recommendation is to move forward with the ordinance tonight. Action. Any questions?
Like to make a motion? Councilmember White?
Sure,
Or were you pointing? I did. Oh, Councilmember Whalen had his hand up.
Sorry. Move to approve ordinance 14-25. Fiber Texas agreement.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Whalen and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to approve ordinance 2114-25, adopting EZ Fiber Texas LLC franchise agreement. Councilmember Whalen, did you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, thank you. Having been at the last meeting and going through this here.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. I don't know if I asked this question last week, so I might, and if I did, well, I'm asking it a second time.
Okay.
In regards to this and the next item we're going to deal with, both of these could be voted in, and you could then move forward with both vendors, or we're just picking one?
We can move forward with both.
Okay.
Yeah, you can have multiple franchise agreements. They are non-exclusive.
Okay.
So there's no exclusive rights that are granted through these franchise agreements to any particular vendor. It will only help with a competitive nature for services.
Right, that's what I thought I remembered you saying that, and I, okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Okay, this is an action item. Are there any comments from the audience? All right. It has been moved by Councilmember Whalen and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to approve ordinance 2114-25, adopting EZ Fiber Texas LLC franchise agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 7-0. Moving on to our next item this evening, it's another franchise agreement found on page 81 of your packet. It is ordinance 2115-25 for Ziply Fiber Pacific LLC. Turn the floor back over to Director Madden. I'll need a motion to open up the floor.
Mayor, again, this item is our fourth franchise that staff has brought forth for telecommunication services, in particular fiber optic network cables to be installed throughout the city of Milton. Ziply's approached the city. We received their application. Legal has reviewed it, and we found no fault or reason to not approve Ziply Fiber Pacific LLC. And so this item is before council again tonight for an action vote, whether you would like to grant a franchise agreement to Ziply.
I move to approve ordinance number 2115 25, adopting Ziply Fiber Pacific LLC franchise agreement.
It's been moved by Councilmember White and seconded by Councilmember Strader to approve ordinance 2115-25, adopting Ziply Fiber Pacific LLC franchise agreement. Councilmember White, did you want to speak to your motion?
This is the third one of these we've approved in the last few weeks, and I'm hoping that at least one of them decides to do business in town, because having one provider and not
His mic.
help them be a better business to our residents causes them to well, let's just say that they don't have a very good reputation in our town. Unfortunately, the competition that exists right now, which is through the wireless providers, does work for some areas of town, but unfortunately, a lot of dead areas, and so there really aren't true competition. That one of these decides to make the numbers work in our town.
Thank you. Councilmember Strader, do you want to speak to your second?
Pretty much just to echo what Councilmember White said, I think this will be a great improvement for the citizens to have the ability to have different choices.
Thank you. Any other comments from council? Councilmember Whalen?
I concur with what I've heard.
Okay. Any other questions, comments, concerns? It is an action item. Are there any comments from the audience? Okay. Oh, yes. Noted. It has been moved by Councilmember White and seconded by Councilmember Strader to approve ordinance 2115-25, adopting Ziply Fiber Pacific LLC franchise agreement. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 7-0. Moving on to our last agenda item this evening, it is on page 127 of your packet. A contract amendment for Cannon Construction LLC. I'm going to turn the floor back over to Director Madden, and then following his review, I will need a motion to open up the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, the action item before you takes an existing contract that the City of Milton has with Cannon Construction LLC, and it seeks to add an additional $250,000 through Amendment 8 to the contract price. This contract was first established in 2021 to help Milton with large construction projects where additional staff and resources are required outside of our limited staff in-house. We contract for either supplemental professional support, whether it's setting a pole, running new lines. Through this contract, we did a significant amount of new cable replacement in 2023 and 2024. Dock Street Apartments was that particular location, and we were able to execute that work at a lower cost than going out to contract using on-call resources through Cannon Construction LLC. The city is currently close to exhausting those contract funds, and we're seeking to add $250,000 to that base contract through this amendment number 8. We've got several cable runs, vaults, and getaway work. So the cable that leaves the substation, everything from the substation downstream to our clients is city-owned. And so it's our responsibility to replace those cables. There's a certain amount of technical expertise and ability that's required, and Cannon can provide that to the city. And so we are seeking to maintain that contract and add additional funds to continue that relationship.
Councilmember Whalen?
Thank you. Move to authorize the mayor to execute amendment number 8 to the Public Works contract, Cannon Construction LLC.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Whalen and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to authorize the mayor to execute Amendment Number 8 to the Public Works contract with Cannon Constructors LLC. Councilmember Whalen, did you want to speak to your motion?
Yes, and thank you. Canon is a local company in the city in executing their work, support to melt, even in crisis times, you might say. Good company. Never heard a bad word about them. I've had the opportunity to speak with several of the workers from Canon, and they like working with the city of Milton. So it's a good sense for everybody.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem, did you want to speak to your second?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we've had an excellent relationship with them for as long as I've been on council. So they're a good partner to have. How long do you anticipate the $250,000 to last?
Through the calendar year of 2026, so a year and a half. We've got some projects down at the substation that we need to move forward with prior to losing our backup power supply due to the 167 project. And so it's in the city's benefit to expedite those projects moving forward now. If we do need to take a power outage, right now, we were on one a month ago, which is fantastic. That's what needs to happen. That backup tie will go away in the next 2 years, and so there's a certain amount of work that we're doing right now. BPA is always also conducting a significant amount of work in the next year to get our substation in its best performance scenario that it can be in.
It's nice not being noticed, huh?
It is.
In
yeah,
this regard.
sometimes. Yeah.
No, I like the answer you gave me. I applaud you for that one. I'm glad you didn't say 3, Emma. And then, thank you.
Any other questions, comments, concerns? Councilmember Strader?
I have concerns that I'm seeing more and more work being out. What does our electrical department do? Do we have a list of items that our electrical department is performing that renders them unable to perform the tasks that we need for the city? And why are we there? Is it because we have one lineman? Is that not correct?
We currently have one full-time line.
And we're having difficult time getting another.
It is a tight labor market, yes.
So it gives me great concern that we're continuing to contract out to Canon. Not that there's anything wrong with their work that they do. It concerns me that we're more and more of the city's workload is being taken by rendering our department, electrical department, neutral or without purpose. So that's my concern, that we're not getting
For substation work. Yeah, that's a very niche market, yeah.
So what would it take for us to be able to do that? Would that be hiring another sets? And what would that take?
I don't think Milton will ever be in a position where we want to hire that type of skill set for substation work, only for the simple reason of we have one substation. That is a very specialized niche in the electric field, and it would benefit us to not invest in staff time to acquire those skills, but rather work with the Patelcos of the world or the Cannons who hold those certifications. And I appreciate your comments, because I think that that perception of, we're working with Canon, what is our team doing? It's a valid perception. I will say that our staff will handle all of our operational needs. What we utilize Canon for is large capital infrastructure improvements, where our even if we were fully staffed at 2 linemen, would not be able to handle some of these large cabling projects. We don't have the reels or the equipment for that type of capital development. What we have is operational tools that anytime that there's a power outage, our team is responding. Any transformer issues, we take care of those. We do any kind of line interruptions, any kind of faults. We're handling all of that work in-house. And we are keeping our staff extremely busy on the electric front. So I just wanted to kind of point out that point of demarcation of if it's operational, we're taking care of it in-house. If it's capital in nature or it's deferred, where it's built up into a larger project, that's when we would look to utilize contract work.
What percentage of tree trimming does, or is that with the Aspen or?
Asplin does our electric line tree trimming, and they've got specialized equipment to do that. Either Kemp West or Asplin does 97% of our tree trimming. Trail runs, emergency tree removal, that's done with our internal staff and equipment.
All right, thank you.
Of course.
Councilor Preddy, did I see your hand up?
Yeah, I appreciate this coming forward. For years here in the city, we have contracted with outside. I mean, Potelco was a firm that we used quite a bit for our lines and for our poles and things. And having contracts, because of the size of our city being so small versus everybody else, sometimes the cost benefit of being able to contract out is actually financially a benefit to the city than having a staff of 30 or 40 people that maybe will be sitting around because we don't have a large scenario on that. And so I know it's a fine line between the two, but I'm really appreciate that we are going this direction because we need to always look at that financial benefit of having personnel on, boots on the ground is a good thing, but there's a big cost to that too. Contracts like this is something that we need to be fiscally responsible. And I really appreciate you bringing that forward.
Councilmember Cedar?
I just want to, as a question, Interim Director Robick. This is in the budget, right? 2025 budget. It's stated in there that this is in Electrical Capital Fund 402. That's where this is coming from. Is that right?
We do have money in the budget for the substation. Imagine that this money would come from that.
And this isn't an unexpected expense. This is something that we are planning for in our budget, right? Okay, great.
Councilmember Hall?
Talking about budget, I know next year is this something we need to work on. He's going forward for this.
We budget projects. This contract, an on-call contract, is a mechanism to help us deliver. So the project money and the budget, the budgeted funds are in the project, if that makes sense. This is just a mechanism for us to deliver those projects. So valid point, and yes, we are thinking it is budget season, my brain already. And so we are looking at our electric and substation projects and analyzing those very closely as we work through our electric rate study. We meet with the electric rate study team from Potelco and Quanta almost daily. So we're analyzing those numbers and find projects that we have on the books and validating our current budgets that we have for projects. So we're looking at those very closely.
You answered both my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other, Councilmember Whalen?
Oh, thank you, Mayor. So, just a question, Cannon Construction and expertise that they have on did change a little bit. Now, getting into substation, higher level electric employees. In doing that, though, also, does any of this money factor into supplying the additional equipment that an individual of this particular nature will need to execute his job? Is that what we don't have on hand?
No, no additional materials or equipment will need to be purchased by the city for Canon to fulfill any contracted work.
Okay, so extent of is, but that's all we're paying for is that individual's experience primarily.
Correct. If there's material costs, which I think is what you're asking, that would come out of the project, wouldn't be associated directly with Canon. The city would likely buy those, and material costs wouldn't go against the on-call.
Basically, we need to know what some of the material is. A higher level of distribution networking.
Correct. Yep. We've worked with Canon to specify particular vault installations that we need for underground cables. So we rely heavily on their expertise when it comes to substation.
Will he be doing anything for concert with moving from Tacoma to PSC?
This contract will not. All of that work and effort to analyze those opportunities is being done through the rate study and the Patelco contract that council had approved earlier this year.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other questions from council? It is an action item. Are there any comments from the audience? All right. It's been moved by Councilmember Whalen and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Whitaker to authorize the mayor to execute Amendment Number 8 to the Public Works contract with Canon Constructors, LLC. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried 7-0. Moving on to council reports. Bless you. Actually, we'll start with Mayor Pro Tem this evening.
Thank you. The only thing I have to say is electric bikes.
Say that one more time.
Electric
Oh,
bikes.
okay.
And the riders of said electric bikes. Now I'm getting you to move your microphone. Yeah, it's just and I'm not going to globalize it and say every one of them, but a vast majority of them are well, the kids. I've just seen them being rude, and so yeah, if we can take care of that. But I'm not. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not against everybody with electric bikes. Just the kids riding them around. I can do anything I want.
Councilmember White? Councilmember Peretti?
I'm talking about.
Police, I've seen the police reacting to that, walking around, so I appreciate that.
Councilmember Cedar?
Yeah, just like the chief, if you could get the cars that are driving dangerously in our city too. I've noticed a few of them, just once or twice. Thanks.
Councilmember Strader?
Nothing tonight.
Councilmember Hall?
Reservations on now, and you add going to be crazy loud. It already is. Also, I had to call 911 the other night on 3 extremely safe, and again, by the time the police, I saw him going down Taylor. I was clear up on it. They were gone. The big thing is I'm worried they don't realize what kind of danger they're putting themselves in. And
Councilmember Whalen?
And I don't have any. Purchasing for pro so forth. I know we've set aside for certain things and so forth. Is there sprinkler systems going into the lower field in Triangle Park?
Yes.
But that's what I saw that work going on and so forth, and I'm pleased to see it happen because they've spent a lot of time and energy to get that field reinvigorated. So maintain that field as well as they do the upper field. Perfect. I don't know if anybody else has seen that work. That's all I wanted to mention.
Director Madden, do you have anything this evening? Interim Director Robeck? No? Chief, I know you do.
Share a few photos of some recent. So, officer who just joined today, and the mayor will be sending out a picture of her. So this will be our 4th female in the police department. We're very happy to have her. She comes from King County. And then regarding the cameras, they are on track. We just finalized the infraction. And so it was sent off to the court. And so we're still moving that and still hope to have it activated by the start of the. And then regarding the e-bikes, we do continue to catch these young men and women out on the bikes. And we're currently putting together a education pamphlet. And also you're going to see an escalation. We've recently crafted a form that lets the action if they're allowing their child to drive an e-bike and they're under 16 years of age. And that's a $145 infraction, as well as impounding the bicycle if we them. So that is going to be up, and we'll be rolling probably by the end of this week. So we've been working on that, talking with the attorneys and so forth. Legal footing, and the picture that I handed out. This was last week, and you know, sometimes I know people balk at some of the traffic stops, and they think that they're frivolous. This was actually a traffic stop on a Mercedes that had no front plate. And that traffic stop, because that front plate led to all of this that was in plain view. But there was a search warrant, and what you're looking at is $30,000 worth of drugs. And so there were 5 ounces of fentanyl powder, which is 140 grams, which can make tens of thousands of fentanyl pills. There was 600 fentanyl pills that were already complete. There were 400 Xanax pills. So the powder is worth about $17,000. Fentanyl pills are worth $6,000. The Xanax are worth $4,000. Methamphetamine is worth $173, and the ounce of marijuana is $1,650. And so again, this is nothing new for us. We're dealing with this on a daily basis. And so I just want to laud the police department. They're doing a great job. And if you see them, you know, give them a wave, smile, shake their hand, thank them for the work that they do. And I'll tell you that our police officers, I haven't hired an entry-level officer for the 11 years. I hired lateral officers. Officers are coming from other jurisdictions where they felt they weren't supported by. They like being in the city of Milton. They're staying in Milton. We're continuing now because the word is spread that this is such a great place to work because the council, the mayor, and the community that they want to be here. Seattle, Federal Way, King County, Tacoma, Pierce County. And so again, our reputation goes beyond our city limits. But the reality is that we're a small city with big city It's about trying to preserve, anybody who's heard me, way of life in the city of Milton, which is we're the neighborhood on the hill. And we're trying to keep out these raiders and these people that think that they're going to come up here and steal from us and commit crimes. And so our guys are very, very proactive. And we have a large jail bill because if you commit crimes in the city of Milton, we will put you in jail. So that's it.
I appreciate you sharing this photo this evening because I continue to get calls from residents who are upset for getting pulled over for no front plate, California stop, and no expired tabs. And I try to explain to them, you're doing your job, but this is just, it solidifies why you do what you do, not only because you're driving with something wrong, but then you see pictures like this where it's like, how can we not want you to pull people over? So thank you for sharing it because I think it will help in conversations with residents.
Reality is, again, this is traffic stops are just a tool and officer discretion comes into play. The truth of it is only about 50% that are stopped actually receive an infraction. Most of the time it's a conversation with the individual to figure out what the officer needs to do to get them to follow the rules. And if you're a bad guy, then guess what? You should be terrified.
Yeah. Go ahead, Councilmember Whalen.
Just a side note and so forth. Front license plate. Talked a little bit about it.
Yeah.
But this is a plus. The other side is new cars don't come with the front license plate. It's not a standard piece of equipment. Subaru is that way. I can't speak for every other, but they don't have a place to attach. You got to buy a $30 bracket or something to put on. So it gives you a lot more opportunity to advise people to get one.
Correct.
And thank you for the cleanup on 99 Highway. It feels safe.
I just have two really quick things. One is I want to say congratulations. I know no one in here graduated, but congratulations to the Fife High School class of 2025. And school gets out, I believe, tomorrow. So make sure we're watching out for those that are walking to the park. Wednesday, sorry, I was a day off. Wednesday. So just be sure you're watching out for the kids that are outside playing. We will not have another council meeting before 4th of July. So I just want to wish July and remind you that if it goes up or blows up in the city of Milton, it is. So with that, is there anything else this evening? Adjourn at 8:53 p.m.